I'm just gonna
And
put that in
we
there
we
for a
had
minute.
lots of cool world suggestions that I also wanted to talk about this week.
I think that's gone quite busy this week as well compared to some other weeks, hasn't it?
I love it. I love reading through it.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna say, please don't be shy to put your world suggestions in the world suggestion chat.
Mm-hmm. Where are you going first with this today?
I was gonna do the very long one.
Okay.
Because this one is a lot to break down. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you start with it, GigaFox, since I know you had some thoughts on.
You know, we're just players like everybody else, you know, and we've got kind of like our own opinions, and you know, this kind of generated a bit of a big conversation, you know, behind the scenes with us today as well. So I think when we're looking at world suggestions, things like this one that comes through, it's kind of good to break it down so everyone, I think, gets that reassurance that the game caters for every level. So this kind of post is, I think, probably a little bit of a longer playing person, but it's kind of good to talk about how you approach your gameplay. So we always talk about how everyone should play their game how they want to play. So the first comment, Mondays, you know, absolutely the most horrific day, especially to long-term players who run out of buildings to upgrade. So solution, add insects from Sunday to Monday as a source of points and colony hours. So at first glance, that kind of makes absolute sense because, you know, there's players that have been playing for a long time. It comes to, you know, Groundhog Day. We don't need the insects to complete Warzone or to grab a huge amount of points, because the groundhog points are super easy to do in your first hit on the groundhog. But for everybody else, when you go to Monday, those moving the insects away from Sunday, for anybody that's on a newer server or doesn't have kind of, you know, super strong ants, you're taking away from one group of player an ability to hit their 9 shells for the sake of assisting another group of player hitting their 9 shells on a Monday. So I think it's kind of good to get a kind of balance between the two, and maybe realize or advise. It's my opinion personally that you can play your game in a way that you can still maximize those rewards. So we spoke earlier about the enhancement resing. So, you know, 90% of the year, longer term players are at season. Anyone that wants to hit their max reward tomorrow is going to have probably between 40 and 45,000 resin saved for tomorrow, along with your soldier ant hatch and your towers and your structures. You'll hit your rewards, but it's an effort. You know, it's an effort and it's a delayed gratification. Like we said earlier, you've got to sacrifice some of your builds, save your resin for your shells. So that's my opinion. And I know we've kind of gone back and forth on it today, but I just think anything that we take from one area of player to give to another, we've got to think about how it affects the other player. So that's me for Mondays.
Yeah, and another point on the Monday, like most of the time that you are on the home server playing the game for a while, you won't be able to hit your 9th shell on build day. But does anybody actually still struggle with getting the creature remains for evolution day if you're not hitting that build day? Like, you should still have enough creature remains if you're not going over your evolution day 9th shell, right?
Yeah, I think it's the trade-off, isn't it? If you're not hitting it on build day, you know that, you know, you've got to try and put a bit more effort into the other days. And I think most evolutions give you a good chance. It's only really when you start hitting, you know, the really expensive evolutions, Like the what's the next one after the excellent enhance? When you hit excellent enhance, it's really hard then to hit 9 shells. So that's our sacrifice. We know it's hard, but we're getting additional buffs that no other players have got yet. And so, I think it's okay that we don't hit 9 shells because we're adding something nobody else has got. So it is a bit of a trade-off. So I think a little bit of acceptance has got to be there from all of us, really.
Yep. And Koenig agrees as well. He says Monday is fine. Just go to season.
Yeah, for real. Literally. Like there is no issue on a Monday if you're in season. How long are we on server now? Are we on 2 or 3 week breaks now between each one? Can't remember what it was since they aligned
almost
it.
3 weeks.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very small take away for a very easy season Monday. So
for real. Tuesday, I think everyone agrees, don't they?
Yeah, the only time that I really can't hit nine clams on season is when I have to use all my resin to get some buildings up to fight early in the season. If it's
the first little bit, yeah.
We've had that conversation. It's like because for me as a player in season, I don't anymore really focus on what my honor level is, except for hitting that 40K milestone and then 100K if I can. But really from 40K to 100K, I'm not focusing. Like that's when I save my resin, but I grind to get to 40K as soon as I can so I can get that bump in healing fungi because I'm on a fighting team and that's kind of priority. But after that, you just save your resin for your build days. That's kind of how I roll.
Yep, 100%. And I think there's a guide out there, isn't there? For the fastest way to get to 40K on free to play. But I think not following that is kind of some people's downfall. Upgrading the wrong things in the wrong order to actually earn your rewards to give you more resin kind of prevents people getting there in a nice, easy kind of way.
But those are all learned things. I can remember dumping all of my resin the first few seasons, not quite understanding those little small, fine details that really make a big difference.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I think
and I guess that just plays into the point that everybody plays a different game too, because it definitely is a learned thing that you can learn, but some people just, I guess, don't want to learn to play the game differently than they have been.
That's it, differently, isn't it? Yeah, I think that is literally the key thing. Do you want to learn to play differently to help yourself in the best possible way? But yeah, I think some of those are just asking for things to be easier when I think they're there already. You've just got to find them.
And so the next point that person had in the suggestion, well, Tuesday, but they said nothing needs to be fixed, and I'd have to agree with that. Gathering seems easier than ever, so please don't make it hard again.
The only caveat to that I had was that we're almost now. I've got so many things against this. I'm really sorry, whoever this guy is, but look, the only caveat I've got against that is it's not a negative to that comment. It's just, I think from the devs' point of view, they seem to be making cultivator almost as insignificant as herder now. With the changes to raider class, I'm struggling to see necessarily where the actual change from raider class now needs to happen. I don't know if anyone can kind of give me a...
Isn't herder though beneficial for your honeydew though? Because I know a few that run herder now. I mean, I can't quote me on this because my herder is at 0, and that is something I want to rectify. But if you're looking in the beginning to really grind out your honeydew, herder makes a big benefit to that.
The only thing that makes a benefit is that the herder get a herder shop where you can buy honeydew.
Right. Okay. So it's not that it increases. You can just select almost buy items as a
Yeah.
herder. Is that right?
I think there's a
Yes,
couple
right,
other
but-
spots, but I'd have to look.
But there are also some skills of the herder that increases, I think, the honeydew part. But
Yeah.
Okay.
the only advantage of a herder is if someone attacks you, he get a lot of resources.
Mm. But I mean, if you've got 16 hours of your day free, you could eventually transfer like 150,000 sand to somebody
That
as a
will
herder.
take a
Yeah,
that would take a
150,000?
while.
I mean,
I think
But
you
if
need
you had-
more than one day.
yeah, I mean, I've never really seen the logic in it, but yeah, maybe there is a little bit of logic in the honeydew early game, like Nim just said then.
Well, I know it matters now for healing.
Mm. But you could go and raid a dead hill and get more honey as a raider with a pro with T1s than you'll get from a herder in a week, surely.
I don't know. My herder is 0. Again.
Oreo posted a gift that fits totally to a herder.
Because as herder using the 2 gather feature skills, I can easily go 9 shell. Also, I got 11. Yeah. So my stuff. Look at him. So, but is there anything in there, Oreo, that you're sort of saying is worth doing? You know, because we can all now do 9 shells gathering in Raider and Cultivator. So, what's the benefit? Is it just more stuff in your in your cave? I thought 9 million diamonds.
He's
Oh
just
my
bragging
God.
about his wealth.
All right, moving on, because no one wants to know any more about what other stuff Oreo's got hidden in his cave.
I guess we just need to make it so raiders can raid for diamonds too.
Yeah, and then go find Oreo.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. You know, that's kind of it. I think the updates that we're doing, you know, we are helping everybody, you know, not switch from Raider to Cultivator to be able to do gathering. And I think it just backs up kind of what I've said before. Every time you take away from one, you know, to give to another, that's all you're doing. We're just moving around the type of player that we're focusing on. I don't see any great logic in, you know, lessening the need to switch to Cultivator. I just don't. My opinion, guys. I'm really sorry.
In season, it doesn't matter.
Oreo,
never-
what are you doing in the game that you got 20 G honeydew, 8 million of diamonds? Are you enjoying your life as a herder completely, or
Look,
Just gathering
just
and,
because
and chilling.
you should. I dread to think what Oreo's township looks like. Every building in the game.
he's not fighting? Yeah, okay, that explains a lot. But even if I'm not fighting, I don't get the honeydew out of the ladybug is not enough.
It is a lot, though. I think people underrate Ladybird. You know, 4 ladybirds a day. What's that, like 10 million? Easily.
10?
Yeah,
It's
got to
not
be.
even
A million?
It's not even an upgrade.
No, but, you know, every day, 70 million a week. You know, I think it's a good amount. And if you're not collecting it, and I still speak to people now that don't use it, don't collect the honeydew for free, you know, that's a huge amount of resource you're throwing away. I mean, I only really run at about 3.5 G honeydew. That's pretty much where I sit most of the time. But yeah, I constantly fill it up from the Ladybird.
I'm
Anyway.
impressed that you can hit the ladybug 4 times a day because I have mine high level, but now that it comes 4 times a day, I can only seem to be there when it's there twice. I miss it all the time.
Right. But diamonds as well, you know, you can do another 1,000, grab another load of honeydew. There's ways around, you know, if you really desperately need it, aren't there? So
Yeah. The next point that the person had in their suggestion was Wednesday. Really need some additional source of points. Evolutions are a finite thing. You can run out of bones and have no bone-free evolutions left. Are you sure it's a good idea that most players don't run evolution through the week just if they bone for Evo Day? ? I think we kind of even talked about this on our build day when we were breaking down that a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel like evolutions day is an easy day. I don't know. Do you feel the same?
yeah, I think if it's a average kind of length of time player that is, you know, still unlocking T10s, then yeah, I think it's a relatively okay day to get through the points. I think if you've finished all your T10s and you're sort of moving on to excellent enhance, then yes, it is really, really tough. But I think it's back to, you know, the reason you're doing these on certain days. You know, you're doing them on certain days because A, you're committed to helping your server for Warzone, and B, because if you do them on a certain day, you get an amount of them back as a reward. You know, so why would you want to use them throughout the week? I didn't really get what the purpose of using them throughout the week was.
Yeah, and I mean when I first started the game, I had evolutions running as much as I could afford them, but a lot has changed since then, and the evolutions are a lot more expensive. So you're absolutely right. Like I wouldn't start an evolution unless I was getting points for the creature remains that I spent. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you're going to get diamonds maybe if you do a colony action for it, but I mean, I don't value diamonds over creature remains. So creature remains for me are kind of the priority. So yeah, I couldn't see any logic in doing them on any other day. That was all.
I think the only times that I have struggled to complete my 9 shells on Evo Day has been when I've been close to completing like a T10 tree or an excellent enhance, because some of those Evos you got to save up for a couple weeks. So like I've skipped a week because I know that I'm grinding them for that specific thing. But for the most part, until I get to that place, which takes a while, I'm not missing out on Evo Day.
Nope.
Yeah.
Just another thing as well. Sorry, just one other thing is the zone fight. There's a lot of kind of zone fight elements in that tree, which are kind of really tiny improvements. So I never went full send on zone fight. So if you are maxing your troop, maxing your heal in lots of other areas, those little tiny improvements that are really only beneficial in a very, very, very small window of time are not important. So keep all of that Evo tree, you know, at a low level as you go through the game. So I can jump into zone fight now and I've got probably 6 or 7 trees that are only at level 12, 13, 14, and a couple at 0. So I know I can always go back in and reach my shells by doing a lot of, you know, smaller upgrades as top ups. And I've used zone fight my entire game as top up to 9 shells. Just a nice little kind of tip if anyone's kind of at the point where they're starting zone fight at least.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I like to have things all tidy and complete, so I max everything out.
I use my shooter upgrade tree as the supplementary tree. It's so low.
Yeah,
everything's so cheap.
That's it. Yeah, and that's it. I think it's exactly what we've kind of gone back to over and over again, is choosing to play the game in a way that is going to benefit you long term. So, and it's you've got to find the best way to get the best benefit.
I think there's always been some give and take in the game when it came to any of this stuff. It's like you're giving of your time, or you're, you can't give your time, or, you want this Evo, but you're can't quite finish it. So you're waiting and missing a week. So like, there's always been these little, like, okay, where can I best use the items that I have on the path that I'm on? And sometimes you have to be patient, which is, not always easy for all of us.
Yep. So I don't remember the
Patience is
last time I got my hill attacked in a Warzone event. Do you? It's not very often, is it?
It depends on the event. It's happening more now because we're all in the same rotation for season. So there's servers
I guess more
are full.
fighters available. Yeah. Yeah.
It's my favorite
What was
thing
the
when
next-
a bunch of people attack my hill in a Warzone, in a cross-server Warzone.
You're the guy that gathers with T10s, aren't you?
No, I don't
Go on,
normally
tell
gather. I
us.
just scout them all and make them mad. I gather in the order. That's the only gathering I really do.
Oh,
The next thing on the suggestion was Friday. Once T10s are open, Fridays get extremely frustrating. On one hand, you really need to hatch a lot of T10, and when is the best time for that? Then if not Friday. On the other hand, T10 are 1,000 times longer to hatch and almost gives the same amount of points. A bit of an exaggeration, but fair. You'll end up hatching T9 instead. Solution: increase the points of T10 proportionately to the time it takes to hatch.
Yeah, I can't argue that at all. I'm sorry.
I love that.
Yeah, I got nothing. Fair play. That guy, 100% spot on.
I never
Yeah,
quite understood that. Like why
What's
like
that?
you're spending so much more to get these, like, and time and energy to get to these T10s, and then it's like it's not very rewarding at the end, other than when you hit people, but you're like, oh, now they're really expensive, and you don't want to fight with them because they're really expensive. Except in maybe Rainforest or Season, because you get them back, but yeah.
You're the same, Jake? You
I
agree with that?
I agree. Yeah, I just got T10 probably less than 2 months ago, and so I don't have very many, but I'm greedy, so I try to get as many as I can every hatch day and spend all my diamonds every hatch day. And it's pain. It's pain, and I don't know. I would love there to be a little help for that, but for now, I just
would be nice.
hatch some guardians to get my 9th shell.
Exactly what we said earlier, wasn't it? All of us, you've got, I don't know, a myriad of meat sat there. I mean, what does anyone use it for? Let's be honest. So we're just flying guardians out the window, aren't we? Every single Friday. So.
Yep.
Fair.
But yeah, I agree that is something which could potentially get looked at. I think as a single comment for world suggestion, listing that as a separate one to actually identify the uplifting costs for T10 versus T9, and maybe getting the guys to have a look at balancing out the rewards a little bit better. I think that is an absolutely solid suggestion.
And it also kind of, like, the big picture that I've been seeing is they've been, like, the developers have been trying to get the newer players to catch up to the older players, and that would be one way that would help us catch up, because currently a way that will never catch up to you guys is hatching soldiers. And fodder really are the two main ways that will never catch up to you guys. So if we could faster hatch T10 soldiers, that would quicker lessen the gap between us, I feel like, or at least give us some soldiers to throw at you guys, even if they don't do anything.
Yeah, extra ones to refill. Yeah, is that fodder another one which kind of people have a problem with? Not seem.
I don't think a problem. I just mean. Yeah, I just mean, like, not a lot of us, unless you're spending a lot of money, would have 11-star insects in their second line or anything like that. And a lot of the older players, you guys probably would.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just obviously just catch up that kind of like speed up for getting everything sorted a bit quicker. I get it. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
like
just mean the
Tom's
raw
just
amount.
put in there. You see what he's just put in chat? Like first time you get your T10s killed is heartbreaking. Oh,
It is.
I feel that so much, Tom. That is so true.
Charmaine and Nim warned me, but I got my T10s and I really wanted to go fight with them and hit a bunch of people's hills, and then all of a sudden I didn't have enough to fill up my line anymore. And I'm like, what's going on?
What do they know? What do they know, Jake? Come on. What do they know?
and
You never
Come on.
listen, Jake.
that and farming speed ups, I have
Mm.
definitely made the mistake of forgetting to heal
Mhm.
and lost
Yep,
some
for real.
T10s, like unenhanced at that point. But yeah, I felt the pain of that. We do have
Yeah.
a hand up, Jake. Just letting you know.
Oh, let's bring them up.
Mhm.
I don't know how.
He's
Fight
been
the
invited
speed,
up.
I figured it out.
Good for
Oh,
you.
You did it first. You did it.
But hey, I forget sometimes. Like there's a lot to remember in some of this jobs. So every once in a while, I'm like, oh yeah, how did I do that? Welcome, Conic. What wisdom do you have for us today?
Hey guys, first I just want to apologize to you, Gigafox. My eyes were so tired at the time I read it. You know how you talk about the fifth skill transferable, Gigafox? I do.
You're talking about the bison, Connie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so late for me, so it probably wasn't the best time to talk about it. So I do apologize. Yeah, you were right about it. My brain wasn't working at the time. So I do apologize for that part. Yeah.
That is totally okay.
Yeah, no need to apologize. I make mistakes all the time.
Me too. I make
Yeah.
plenty of mistakes.
Yeah, it's all good. And then the second one, I do want to ask, are you guys really struggling with the bison?
I haven't
Um,
noticed because I haven't fought one yet, but
Yeah, I've lost pretty much almost every person with the bison that I've attacked.
What were they like running?
Mostly bison with the MC. I think its name is the Red Guardian Ant. But sometimes with the White Crystal is also working very well.
Yeah, so like having the protection plus the self-infliction into it, so it's constantly doing the counter attack as well, huh? Yeah. I suppose you can
But
just use damage over time so that it doesn't so that way you're trying to like having it minimally damage reduced because it can't damage reduce over damage over time. So you could play that part, or you can do piercing effect with an AoE, something like an SSA. But that'll be a little harder. You need kind of like a 2300 attack stat.
yeah, well, it's interesting that you said the damage over time, because I actually found I was having more luck attacking with the Gravedigger instead of with my SE up front. So the poison effect seemed to help it a little bit.
Yeah,
That seems to be.
yeah. It doesn't. It still recognizes it as a damage. Unfortunately, though, for like Guardian players, the damage reduction doesn't recognize it because it's a damage over time. That's not an active skill. It's a passive skill.
That is very good to know. So I might have more luck using things with poison or other damage over time, like passive damages like that against the Guardians.
Yeah, unless you don't have that, and because you're like a shooter or something, you could also try using true damage as well. So you bypass you try to bypass as much as possible on the skill defense and defense if you can, and also it also bypasses the skill damage reduction as well for certain parts.
Awesome. That's why I love the CR so much. It also has true damage on a carrier ant. I think it's one of the only true damage carrier ants.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to use that. Even for the whales, seems to use the cipher, right? The CR. And then they just play like either with the comforter ant or with the TA, and then just have let's have the middle with some actually people for some reason use LB. It's quite interesting actually. I usually prefer something like an LP or like the dodge and then carry the dodge over towards dodging damage. That's the way I usually play around with it.
I feel really called out right now, Koenig. I'm some people that have the LP and the CR in the same line. But it's because I have a struggle where I have no support ants. So the only support ant I have is the Gravedigger. So sometimes you gotta work with what you got.
Yes. I mean, Ghostly, is kind of right there about the whole silencing of Bison. It can work on it as well. Because it's a combat skill, not a pre-combat. So you could also work around with that. Oh, but unless you have the insect like for rebounding. Also, not to mention the tankiness could also be a problem depending on how you play with your DPS on it. Sorry. Yeah.
All very good points, Koenig, and very good stuff to think about. Thank you, man.
Koenig, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, guys, I'm so sorry. My mic was flashing, but for some reason I wasn't coming through to you. So, just Koenig, can I just clarify? That's what you think is kind of the best way forward. So, if you're a kind of decent carrier going up against a decent guard right now, you think kind of using kind of like the older poison version rather than dodge is going to be a better way to get through a decent guardian at the minute?
You can even use the new carriers as well, and it should still work fine because they all have damage over time.
Okay, so I'll have a look through. I might send you over a couple of bits and pieces at some point and just sort of see whether there's a good balance between the two. That'd be cool, buddy.
Yeah, it's all good.
Thanks, man. Sorry for that, guys.
Oh, it happens.
No problem. You came back right at the right time.
Yeah. Right, where did we get to?
We were on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, we were on Saturday. We can get through that one quick. We're pretty much locked into gathering. Sometimes it's possible to select evolution if there's a huge stockpile of bones, but it will run out quickly. Hatching soldiers might be an option, but hatch speed ups will run out too. Solution: tinker the point balance so it's more realistic to select not gathering. I never select gathering, and like I said, I just use all my diamonds every week, so I don't know.
Yeah, same. I don't think I've gathered on a Saturday. Christ, I don't know for how long, to be perfectly honest. I think the fact that any player hatches maybe 40, 50, 60 minimum blue and purple, pretty much useless ants once you hit a certain stage every single week on a Thursday, pre-Saturday, they just sit in your inventory. As long as you kind of make a point of keeping your spores at, I think 5,500 guarantees pretty much everybody max rewards, but you can use Special Ant Day as well. You know, there are a good amount of ways of not doing gathering on Saturday. So again, I don't know if anyone else has got any kind of input to it, but I would conservatively suggest that, most people have found a way around not gathering on a Saturday now.
Unless people really love to gather, I would assume so.
Yeah, I think it's a personal thing now, isn't it? Some people like gathering day because it's a break. I think that's the only kind of comments I get from people I play with, is that almost like Saturday's their downtime. That's their completely away from game family time, or and I think it's good that we've got kind of one day like that. But genuinely, I don't think there's a huge need for it. If you can level 12 any of those blue and purple ants, unlock the first 3 skills, level them up to 10, delete them, get 80% of the resources back, and rinse and repeat, you'll hit your 9 shells. And I think it's 5,500 spore. That's all you need to keep each week. So it's just plan rather than follow the game path, isn't it?
The game does require a lot of planning for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it will
Yeah,
make
we've
your
got to
life
change
easier
how
in the
we work.
future.
Yeah, but it's effort. I think we said it before the stage, didn't we? It's effort, and if it wasn't effort, we wouldn't enjoy it as much. If we didn't have to put thinking time in and planning time, and actually going into those kind of more smaller, finer details, it wouldn't be as an enjoyable a game. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Let's just keep all the little challenges coming.
Yeah, it's very true. Like, if there weren't any challenges in the game wouldn't be as fun as it is. Like, the challenges definitely do make the game fun. And I feel like any things that are too hard do eventually get fixed, and it's constantly getting more playable.
Yep. I think that was the last thing that you wanted to add as well, wasn't it? The like the devs fix. I think it's a big shout out they need for that quick fix that they did. As soon as it was highlighted.
Oh yeah, I forgot to even mention it was the red velvet, or what was it? Not the red velvet.
Oh no,
the velvet?
It was the VIP store, wasn't it? It was like a 2-hour turnaround on not being able to buy the meteorite. Do you remember?
Yeah, not being
So
able
we
to
had
buy the lava course, right?
The lava cores, that was it. Yeah. So I think that was highlighted once it was reported. They sent out an acknowledgement that it needed doing, and then genuinely within 2 hours that had been jumped on, done, fixed straight away. So I mean, fair play. I think that kind of just shows the amount of kind of effort that they're currently putting in to keep everybody's game running as well as it humanly could. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, and there was a black velvet thing that happened as well, but yeah.
Cool beans.
It's about that time that we should wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope everybody had as fun a Sunday as us.
Always a fun Sunday. Always, always, always. Anybody else? Anything else to add? Nim, Charmaine, any emotional support we can take from you?
I know we threw you into the fire this week, didn't we? I'm going to remind everybody to post your in-game ID in our live ID channel so that we can get those to the fairy, and you can get your little thank you for hanging out with us this week. Please feel free to post your ideas and suggestions in the Stage Topics channel. We thrive on feedback from the community, and we want to have the conversations that you all want to hear. And a quick reminder that we do have our YouTube channel up and running. A recording of today's show along with the chat will be up in a little while, thanks to our amazing video team. So please feel free to like, share, subscribe, do all of the things over there. And I want to just say thank you once again for coming and hanging out and having conversation with us today.
Thank you, guys. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Best of luck in the last few days of your season. Have fun.
Never.
Okay, we're all going now to give Charmaine a hug. Bye, guys.